Tonight, we are talking with the Office of the Family Advocate, and we are talking co-parenting. And now, co-parenting, it might be happening while the people are still married, while they're not married, while somebody's working in Cape Town and the other one is working in Polokwane, in Limpopo. There has to be a way of managing that relationship to make sure that at the end of the day, the interest of the child is being taken care of. And tonight I am joined by Aus Josephine Peta. You know the voice quite very well. She's been here before from the Office of the Family Advocate, and we will be talking more in raising awareness on co-parenting, as well as highlight the importance of having both parents taking care of kids and raising them, as well as educating on parental plan, as well as the services that you can get from the Office of the Family Advocate. Now we're going to be asking, what is co-parenting? What are some of the challenges? What are some of the issues that you need to be looking at, as well as some of the benefits of co-parenting? Because at the end of the day, it takes two to tango in our street language. Good evening, Josephine. Welcome, Rahwamukela, once again, and thanks so very much for coming back again to impart some of the knowledge that you have.
Thank you very much, my brother. Good evening to you, and a very good evening to the listeners out there as well.
Otherwise, this program is also available once we're done here on www.youtube.com, and just look for an account, Government ZA. That is Government ZA in capital letters. Otherwise, for now that we are live, you can call us on 0800 142 446, 0800 142 446. It's a toll-free number if you're using the Telkom landline. However, because you are smart, you got your smartphone, and probably the smartphone is not smarter than you are. You can call us, and then we will call you back. 0800 142 446. Nani bakwaZulu siyanimema namhlanje ukuthi nikhulume nathi. And skakel ons gerus as jy in Kaapstad is. 0800 142 446. It's 17 minutes past 6 o'clock. Let's just get into it by simply studying. Let's break down this core parenting. But why, Josephine?
You know, my brother, before I can delve into the definition of co-parenting, I just want to mention that in South Africa we have a big social issue.
Yes.
And the social issue is that 65% of children in South Africa are actually raised by one parent, by a single parent. And only 35% of children are raised by both parents. You know what? It's because of we don't want to get away from our own personal and relationship issues, you know, like the romantic issues.
Yes.
And, you know, on the other hand, the rate of divorce is skyrocketing as well.
Yeah.
Now, where does that leave our children? Because remember, these are our future society. And now you ask yourself, when these children are not being raised like this, then what then happens? And today I want to highlight the fact that children are the vulnerable members of our society. And they constantly need to belong. And when I'm talking about belonging, I'm talking about children having someone or people in their lives who loves them, who cares for them, who encourage them, who are there for them, who provide them with that particular support. And remember that when they lack that, they will get out and they will get it somewhere else. They will make up for that.
We were just talking that the most sellable influence out there is the bad influence.
Yes, it is. Because remember, when children lack love, when they lack support and care at home, they tend to suffer from separation anxiety. They tend to suffer from paranoia. They tend to suffer from lack of trust and other esteem-related issues. That's why you have this model of blessers. That's why we have Nyaope people. That's why we have gangsters.
Mavuso.
We have in those things because, you know, when you trace and when you actually dig deeper, it goes back to a void which was never fulfilled by both parents. Now, when you come into the concept of cooperative parenting, what we're basically saying is that parents must make a concerted effort to raise their children together and fulfill their responsibilities. I often hear parents telling children, your father is a dog. I often hear other parents saying, your mother is a bitch, or your mother is a snake, or whatever it is. Remember that when you are telling that to a child, as a vulnerable member of the society, what you're basically saying to the child is that I'm actually a bad decision maker as your mother because I was sleeping with a dog.
Mm.
You're basically saying, you are actually half the dog. And that child is going to struggle from issues of identity. You are fragmenting their sense of security. You are fragmenting their sense of identity. And they will get out there and look for that particular identity.
So the one side of the story is quite very, very disadvantageous for the kids to say, okay, ke mama, and mjaele, disorganized, you always get, and to a point where in most cases there's a disadvantage of access.
Correct.
To taking care of
True.
these kids.
True.
Now, we are actually getting into some of the components that the family, the Office of the Family Advocate are dealing with, isn't it?
Correct, yes. In situations just like that, I'm happy to know that, our government has provided, platforms. We have the children's courts. We have the Office of the Family Advocate wherein you can enter in. Then the office can assist you to draft a parenting plan. Because the parenting plan is actually a document that outlines how the two parents are going to raise the children post their separation, post their divorce. And remember, co-parenting has got nothing to do with divorce or separation or whatever it is.
Yes.
It speaks to the parent who stays with the child to say, encourage your child to have a relationship with the other parent. It also speaks to the parent who's not staying with the child to say, you have the duty to get involved in your child's life, because if you don't, then that child will never be a whole child. That child will never be a healthy child. They will constantly, they will grow up and become an adult who will constantly question their identity, question who they are. And that void will forever be there. It's like, a child, who grows up, in a household where they are provided everything. But you still find they are not whole simply because the parents are actually throwing the money at the problem because the child is being viewed at the problem. But what we're saying is that be emotionally present for your child.
And we got a lot of daddy monies. They just throw in money.
I call them that.
They just throw in money, but access is the most difficult thing to have because I'm not sure if it's still the law that, first and foremost, the consideration will be for the kids, especially the minors, to reside with their mother.
That is not the law at all. That goes to what we say we call parental responsibilities and rights. Those are first the children's rights to be cared by both parents, regardless of where the parents are staying.
Yes.
To be contacted by both parents, meaning to build a relationship with both the parents. Thirdly, for the parents to act as their guardians and then to contribute through maintenance. And that financial aspect is actually the last aspect because our society has now turned the children into movies.
Yes.
And into zoos.
Yes.
And into pay per visit kind of a situation.
Which is the case.
And that is the case. But I'm telling you, you are actually harming that child to the core. That child is going to be a member or a boss of a gangster because they're going to just turn around and look for themselves until. Or you're going to face teenage pregnancies. They're going to have the blessings because there's someone who will say, I feel good because this man controls me. They dictate to me how I must dress. They dictate to me the kind of car that I must. We know of such things. And ask yourself, why do we have TV programs which are, I cannot name them, but which are, out there promoting that people must get to find their family members. You find the person is 45 years old. They're looking for their family members. It is not about Amadlozi, Badimu and all that.
Yes.
It's because of their looking at filling that void which was left by that other parent who left them, who refused to partake, and who was barred or who was prevented from partaking in their child's life.
The frustration of access to the kids.
Correct.
To say, I was just making an example that you go and you make an arrangement to get to collect the kids to visit you for a weekend because probably it will be like something that comes out of a settlement that you do with the family office of the family advocate. When you get there, they've been moved from relative to relative just to make sure that you don't access them.
Just to spite you.
Yeah.
A person thinks they're spiting you.
And another thing also was that a friend of mine showed me an SMS where the kid who is 13 years old sent an SMS saying, that is why my mother divorced you. Is there now, in terms of co-parenting, would one parent have more control in terms of raising the kids than the other?
No. They must equally partake in the child's life.
But now you're staying in Cape Town and another one is in Polokwane. How do you actually balance?
The parenting plan comes into place, wherein you look at the child's stage of development and say this child is a teenager. Like, for example, in our office, we have forensic family counselors who will then look at such issues to say a child of this particular age, you know, they get involved into watching TV games, they want to spend more time with their parents and all that. And then you divide that time. Then you can say, you know, because of now they are, you know, they are of a school going age, then they will be staying with this parent because of they are schooling here. And then over school holidays or over weekends or whatever time, then we arrange for them to be shipped off. But then we want those children to then know that both my parents love me. Yes. They want me. You know, they actually treasure me as their child.
0800 142 446. The voice that you're hearing discussing with me, Mosotho Stone, tonight is Josephine Peta. She is with the Office of the Family Advocate. And yeah, talk to us. You got kids somewhere in Pagatini, and then you are married somewhere else. And there needs to be co-parenting that needs to happen, which brings me to my other question to say, Josephine, you're married, and probably the other partner is kind of like bitter about you moving on in life.
That's the case.
Yes, and now it's like, go make your own kids. These are mine. How? Where does the law intervene in terms of that? Because we seem to be seeing a lot of, particularly male parents, who are actually having biggest problems in terms of access, because naturally people feel that young kids belong with their mother because it gets to be a more easier way.
Or stable environment.
Yes, yes, because we were raised in that way, also culturally, Africanly, so, and all that kind of stuff. How can you still be a parent and say maybe in a full time? You know
what? Yes, because remember the Constitution says the children have the right to parental care. And when we're talking about parental care, is them having the best of both mom and dad under the circumstances. You know, that must just happen. There's no way that you can deviate away from that. And you know what? It speaks to you as a parent to say, when you are denying the children that, it speaks to your fitness as a parent. How fit are you? Because you are busy frustrating the child's rights. And then you think that you're spiting the other parent. Then this child now is going to be referred to the court to be a child who is in need of care and protection, whereas the parents are still alive because you are unable to parent the child. You have a duty to protect the child from your own adult and parental issues. You know, you find that, you know, when you get deeper, parents are actually fighting because you dumped me when I was still pregnant, or because you have moved on and then you have married you and then you didn't marry me. What does the child have to do with that? Your child is not your ex. Your child is not your ex. Your child did not even contribute. And you know what? And you make that child start asking questions, thinking, maybe I was naughty. That's the reason why daddy left mommy. Maybe I was naughty. That's the reason why mommy left daddy. So we're making these children, you know, like actually inherit.
And they are being told as well that he's gone because he doesn't like you.
Exactly. And then this child is going to want to be loved elsewhere. And he or she will get people to love them, and that will be your drugs, that will be your alcohol, and that will be partaking in gangsterism and everything. And then who are you going to now blame? And remember, there is nothing that actually, you know, influences a child's personality or a person's personality than their family environment. That which you say and then you do at home, you are actually creating the child's default settings. The child, how the child is going to perceive themselves, how they are going to relate to the other people, how they are going to have expectation towards the world. It begins at home. So watch what you are doing and saying at home when the children are around.
0800 142 446, 0800 142 446. I'm going to just put something out there so that you can clarify for us. There's one settlement that would say the parental responsibilities and rights with regards to the care of the minor children, as contemplated in Section 18(2)(a) of the Children's Act 38 of 2005, which I'm not sure if it still exists or if there's any changes. You will advise us on that one. As well as permanent residency of minor children, it will be awarded to the mother. And now it says The specific parental responsibilities and rights with regard to contact to the minor children, as contemplated in Section 18(2)(b) of the Children's Act that I just said in 2005, is awarded to the other parent. Now, does that still stand as it is? As in like the acts that have been... this was, by the way, a settlement that was done in 2013.
That particular settlement for me is actually contributing to the broken families that we see. Because what you're basically saying is that the mother is now the winner. She takes all. And you as the daddy, you just pay maintenance and then you just come and see the children, maybe over the weekend and whatever. And that for me is wrong insofar as our societies are concerned. I just spoke about the shocking statistics. Yes, we have the Children's Act is the overarching legislation insofar as children's issues are concerned. But what the Children's Act says in the very same Section 18, it says both parents have full parental responsibilities and rights over the children. It doesn't say or. It is not in the alternative. You have all of them, meaning that you have the responsibility to care for the child, to maintain the child and everything at the same time. But remember, it will not be practically possible for this child to be in two places at the same time. Then what do we then do? Then we must co-parent and make suitable arrangements for us to raise this child, for this child to be a secure member of the society. Now, one can ask then, what about the unmarried fathers? Section 21 does cater for them. It says you don't automatically have parental responsibilities and rights unless if you meet certain requirements. And those requirements are that you must have been in a life partnership with the mother of the child prior or subsequent to the child being born. However, it says it is not, it is not that much necessary for you to be in the life partnership, but you may have either paid damages in terms of our African customary law, or you must in good faith contribute to the upbringing of the child or the maintenance of the child. So once then that criteria is met, then you have full parental responsibility, right? Then it boils down to you as the parents of the child to sit down and make the necessary arrangement, because the child cannot be cut into two. I mean, even King Solomon in the Bible said, you know what, just to finish this dispute between the two of you, I'm going to cut the children into two. And the caring parents said, you know what, rather kill me. Cried. But the one who was not caring because of they were pushing their own personal agenda was willing to say, you know what,
the one who was not actually the legitimate parent to the child.
So the question is now, do you hate your child that much to take them through these socio-psychological issues? Do you want your child to recover from their childhood when they are a man or a wife to some other person? And what kind of a society are you creating out there? Are you creating someone who's going to be, constantly be looking for approval from outside sources, wanting to please their friends by smoking dacha and smoking, or maybe in
all this man-made stuff? Because
they want to feel good. They want their parents to love them because they were never loved within their homes.
0800 142 446, 0800 142 446. It's a toll-free number that you can use to speak to us. We know it's quite very emotional. It's very difficult sometimes for people to get on air and tell us about their own issues, because as Africans sometimes we have this thing, I don't want to be speaking my problems in public and all that stuff. Now that we've passed that Act 18A and B of 2005. Can it be contested, or what is the right word actually? Can it be reviewed? Can it be can
be amended?
Yes.
South Africa has a very colorful history when it comes to parent-child relationship. Remember at common law, because it used to regulate that, only marriage fathers had parental authority over the children, to the exclusion of the mothers because they were regarded as perpetual minors. However, then when the law changed in 1960 through the Matrimonial Affairs Act, then they said, okay, let's give mothers parental authority because by virtue of the biological link, then women were then emancipated, then they came into the picture, then were on an equal footing with the father. But now it then said, you are now discriminating against the unmarried fathers. Then let's bring the unmarried fathers into the picture. But it took such a struggle. For the unmarried fathers to be accorded such rights, it took, a man whose child was being adopted without his permission to go to all the courts in South Africa, asking that, I'm begging, can I be part of this adoption process? He begged, but then the Constitutional Court ended up saying, you know what, this child has already been adopted. He's already familiar with the new family. We don't want you to disturb this particular arrangement. But what we can do, we can only cue this via legislation. Then the natural fathers of children born out of wedlock came into being. But it only gave the fathers, just an opportunity to just approach the court whenever the best interests of their children were in question. But it did not say anything about the relationship. And this very same Children's Act, it is the actual act that says children have the right to have a relationship with both the parents, regardless of where these parents are staying, regardless of the relationship of these two parents. So actually, when you are denying the other parents to be involved in the child's life, you are actually violating this child's rights. For me, it is the most beautiful act ever. It's just that when people interpret it, they want to fragment it. It is not in the alternative. It says, number one, to care, number two, to have contact. And when it talks about contact, it takes it further. And also when it talks about care, it takes it further. It says you must provide suitable environment. You must guide the child. You must be emotionally present. It doesn't talk about the actual staying arrangements. It's not about the house, that you have a beautiful house and the child must be
You must have a permanent residence.
It doesn't talk
the
about
kids
that.
and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, most of us grew up sleeping on the floor, but we turned out fine. Today I'm a lawyer, I turned out fine, but then if you look at where I stayed when I was growing up, you wouldn't even think that there was going to
give
be
it a chance at all.
Exactly. So we're not talking about luxuries. We're talking about a suitable environment.
Mark is in Pietermaritzburg and he wants to talk to us. Babumtem. Siyaphila ninja. Siyabonga kumgungundlovu. Yebo baba. Yes.
ingane ivakashe ngapha kwamama nangapha kwababa, ngoba kwesinye isikhathi nje badesha usisi lapho onaye lapha estudio uthe ugcina lapho uthi usuyasika ngala ukuthi uzobheka ingane isithathwe mhlawumbe yashonisa kwamalume sekushintshe ne-address. Lokho kugcina sekudala ukuhlukumezeka mhlawumbe kulo munye umzali ngoba lo munye engafuni ukuthi abe ne-access.
That's right.
Thank you very much, Baba.
All right, siyabonga Babumthembu from Pietermaritzburg, listening to Umgungundlovu. And thank you so very much. And also some of the radio stations in KwaZulu-Natal that are taking part in this is Isiya Tutuga, Good News, Mgungundlovu, of course, Zululand, Rice FM, Inanda, Kwezi FM, Maputaland, North Coast, Ngubeko, Ikora, which is Indonsakusa Community Radio. Thank you so very much for being part of this and being a partner in educating our communities. Josephine, you heard Ubabumthembu.
Yeah, you know, what Ubabumthembu was talking is actually very close to my heart, and it actually saddens me because the very same children who are street kids did not ask to be born.
Yes.
Those children,
it's never their fault.
Families. And the Children's Act says when we define family, we define it in the African context. We talk about your extended family. Bapi awumalume, bapi
ingane eyomphakathi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it is an indictment to us as members of the society to say, what are we also doing? Because remember, in most cases, the government is the last line of defense. You know, we like blaming the government, but in actual fact, everything begins at home. A family, it is actually the essence of the society. Labantwana, they are roaming the streets now, but where are the members of their family? They were born from parents. The parents then abandoned them, and then uti ibe responsibility yakaban, yakahulumende.
And besides, even if government gets in there, who's going to get grant for them?
Exactly.
Let's just put it in a South African reality.
Exactly. Who's going to do that for them? So Tina S. Mpakat is an indictment on ourselves. Let us stand up and not blame the government and say, but what is the government doing? The government has introduced the SASA system.
And other systems as well that like we will be talking about.
It is making strides. But when we as the people, and remember, we are the government.
Yes.
We are we are actually exploiting the resources of the government and actually flushing them down the drain because we are not actually enhancing the system. The system is there. But Tina as abantu siyenzani. You're passing a child. You can see this is a very small child.
0800 142 446 0800 142 446. It's a toll-free number that you need to use to be talking to us. From Richards Bay, let's speak to Brakal. Kalmudise, how are you doing? How? Thank you so very much to North Coast 104.0 FM in KZN in Richards Bay. Talk to us, Malu.
Okay. Mine is more thing I want to go to Josephine there. If you can give me in terms of the law, where the legal recourse. I've got a situation where I am raising a stepson. I got married to somebody who basically had a child before, and now we have our own two kids together. And the father of the child has never had a part in the life of the child. He insists that he does not want to get involved. Now, but there seems to be a tolerance from the mother, which is my wife, to this behavior. Your Baba, who's decided that it's okay to abandon Mtonoake, but in that abandonment, the emotional detachment and so forth that you're talking about, Josephine, is then deprived to the child. But what and legally, it seems there's no recourse where we can then get the father to take responsibility of the child. Now, the challenge that comes across is that you go to social workers, they tell you no, where now as the husband with two children, you are the common problem. So if you want a situation where Lomtwana must be forced to go stay in Baba Wakona, you must leave your house. It's either you leave your house and your kids because the mother is consenting to the behavior of Baba. You understand? So I just wanted to find out what is legally what can one do, because then issues are, of disciplining and correcting the child. The child is now a teenager, a boy. Become complicated. You get to be seen as someone who's abusive more than corrective. There's that risk. So I just wanted to know from Mama, what a man like myself, what recourse within the law do I have to correct that? Because at that age, Umtwana needs to be with Ubabake, who has not had an interest in the child for forever.
All right. Thanks, Tate Modise. Thank you so very much. I guess you'll listen on the radio station. Thank you so much. Sis Josephine?
Butikal, thank you so much for your question. You know, your question is something that has been troubling me as well in my capacity as an official of the Office of the Family Advocate. Yes, and I'll tell you why. Before the implementation of the Children's Act, there was a famous rugby player who impregnated someone out of wedlock. And then he said, I don't want to form part of this child's life. I just want to only pay maintenance. Then the mother of the child took him to court and said, I want you to foster a relationship with this child. Yes. I want you to be in this child. And the court said, no, you cannot force a person to have a personal relationship with the child because we're looking at the best interest of the child. But I'm saying I'm very happy that Butkal raised this, because I'm saying to Butkal, stand up and influence jurisprudence. Be the first father who is raising a child and who has an interest in this child's life and who sees that this child is suffering, and invoke the provisions of the Children's Act and say the natural father has a duty to be in this child's life, especially with regard to the issue of having contact with the child. Be the first father in South Africa. Influence your responsibility. Let it start with you. Because we cannot only just look at the rights and say they are paper rights. Stand up and enforce them. Section 34 of the Constitution talks about, the right to access to courts.
Yes.
And the laws are there. They are very clear. If it says the child has a right, then it means there must be an enforcement mechanism. Babkal, stand up. Go to the Children's Act. Be the first father out there to say, I've got an interest in this child's life. I'm raising this child, and I am seeing that there's a vacuum.
Yes.
There's a gap. And I want the law to close this gap.
You should see how passionate Josephine is. She's even banging. When somebody does that, when they're talking, you should know that, I hope it hits down to your heart. Whether untate or umme, ungubaba or umama or so and so. Please, this is about kids. And the best interest of kids is of paramount importance in this one. 0800 142 446 0800 142 446. We got 3 people who'd like to discuss with us. And starting in the Val. Abuti Panga.
Yela boss.
Lega mrana.
Rutsule le kae?
Hantla ho.
Yeah man.
Imnati vale ka jeno lena.
Vale bona ntho di mnate.
Le kwa FM ka 91.0 ho batho.
Ena ke 90.6 FM.
90.6 FM. Re lebohile hantla ho lo morena. Ke Val, in fact, Val Community Radio. My mistake over there. There's about a few radio stations in the Val, so I thought it's Lekwa. But anyway, Ntate Panga, Kenaditabe.
Yes, let me greet my lovely sister, Nema Peta, Josephine. She's a very, very wonderful woman of Mozambique.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you so much. I just want to have just 3 questions, but the first one is, how can we make it the co-parenting work, because we seem to be getting a lot of people are not working in terms of co-parenting. And then maybe Mama, she can give us the advice in terms of how can we improve communication in relation to, those co-parenting that will lead to, a co-parenting as a team. We see a woman, a father, and a mother of a child staying in one house, and then the woman would say, "No, I'm not supporting that child, but she's working, and then her money it goes to support her family." There is no co-parenting of a child in that environment. And thank you so much in that one.
Kilewile Tata Ntate Panka, and listening to Val Community Radio. Let's quickly move to Mossel Bay in the Western Cape. Maputi.
Molo puti kunjani?
Siyaphila enkosi kunjani tata?
Kuhle. I just want to find out about the term co-parenting. If umzekelo ngabantwana they are still at school, is it still co-parenting or how does it work for abantwana?
All right. Is that all that you wanted to say?
That's all I wanted to say.
All right. You listen to Mossel Bay. You're listening to which radio station?
Eden FM.
Eden FM in the Eden district. Thank you so very much. All right. And just to mention, in Gauteng, you have Lekwa, East Wave, Impact, Josie FM, Eldos, TUT, Rainbow, Peli, VUT, Cosmo, Westbury, which is also Kofifi, and the Val, where Ntate Panka has been calling from. Yes, I was just fit.
Yeah, Ntate Panka.
Yes.
I'm happy that he actually asked that question, because I think we need to recognize that legally there are actually no, I cannot define, ways to say how can we make it work, because it boils down to the parents themselves. And, my advice there would be that as parents, you must first recognize your strength and weaknesses. He made a very good example and say, you find we are staying in the same home, but then the other one does not want to contribute. Yes. That's when you go to the maintenance route. Because we know that both parents have a joint duty to maintain their children financially and to be emotionally there for the children.
Yes.
So parents must recognize both their strength and weaknesses as to, where do I lack and how can the other parent then complement me? Because we want you to have that parental partnership. If you do not have that particular partnership, and if you don't know each other's strengths and weaknesses and try to complement and ameliorate each other's strength, then it can never work.
Yeah.
So it boils down to parents then sitting down, having a conversation about what is best for their children.
All right.
And taking it forward.
Thank you so much for that, Miss Peta. And then Maputi from Mosobe.
The second one with regarding co-parenting, I'll say, you know, for parents who are not staying in the same city, go the parenting plan route. That is the best way. And you know, the good thing is that once, and you can get...
While you're still there, sorry for getting in there, while you're still there, a settlement and a parental plan, you'll actually give us a bit of a difference, if there's any difference, or if it's one and the same thing.
There are huge differences.
So a settlement is not a plan.
No.
You'll have to have a settlement and a plan.
You must have a plan to give effect to the settlement. Remember, the settlement operates within the environment of divorce, when people are saying, you know, we are parting our ways, right, and all that. And then the court will just say what you were reading out there. However, to give effect to that, there must be a plan.
Right.
There must be a plan. And Office of the Advocate assists free of charge for that. You get into our offices, we help you to execute it, you become happy with it, then we register it. And once we register it, it has the same force and effect as a court order. And for the other parent who does not want to come to the party in terms of being a party to the parenting plan, you simply go to the children's court, you get the court to compel them, to submit them to the processes of the Office of the Family Advocate. That is what I'm saying. I do not want to hear people saying these are just paper rights. There are enforcement mechanisms out there, and the principle of access to justice has opened because people now are no longer required to just shoot straight to the High Court where the legal costs are exorbitant and all that. You get to the children's court where things are free of charge.
All right.
And you get the court to then order the Office of the Family Advocate to say, investigate the circumstances here, the living arrangements of these parents and what is best for the child. Give us a report so that we can facilitate these parents making a parenting plan.
Now, another issue that I want to bring into the picture is that affects co-parenting is the interference or the influence of extra relatives. Starting from maternal and paternal grandparents. We have Bomalume, we have all these people who feel entitled to just bulldoze you over simply because the kids belong to their kid.
That's why I love the Office of the Family Advocate. That is why I'm so passionate about my job, because, you know, the Children's Act provides for family group conferences. When you have such kind of a problem or a situation, you simply come to the Office of the Family Advocate or you go to the Children's Court. Then they will then order what we call a family conference group. All of those people will be called in, and then will then say, Butim, so what is your problem? What is it? And we will mediate, because remember, like we said, a child is a child of the community.
Yes.
We cannot run away from the fact that the child is entitled to have a relationship with the members of with the extended members of their family.
That's right.
So we do have those resources. That's what I'm saying. People must stand up and enforce the rights.
But now you find, I really want to push it to a point where there is a one-sided approach to this, where the family, simply because they are by blood relation, probably they are parents to the dad or they are parents to the mom, and they feel that they are obliged to support this one particular path, and in the process not actually being fair, like as you are talking idealistically, so that a child belongs to the community. But at this point in time, a child belongs to the community that is against another parent.
That's when you speak about the best interest of the child being of paramount importance. Then the court will force you. It will force you to co-parent. And do you want to adhere to, you know, like a system that has been introduced by someone else? You see that now you actually letting the court raise your child simply because you refuse to come to the party. Then the court is going to force you. Like I'm saying, in South Africa, systems are there. Mechanisms are there.
It's only a matter of you actually taking advantage or participating in
Exactly.
All right. Let's go just down the road to Soweto and speak to Anonymous. And switch off your radio, Anonymous. I can hear myself. That's why you're waiting for so long. Hey,
Mama.
Mama, am I on the right track or not? I have to calculate the radio, especially if the driver can come.
Okay.
But now my problem, my husband to go to Tlonkong, ne? He's been ko Tlonkong since 2011. So ke na le bana ba itse ba bashimanyana and ke dira le bana ba ka le ba relief of like na botata le that. But now my problem is he's not being honest le bana ba gagwe. You know what I'm saying? Like bana ba would ask me mama ha tla papa o tshwaretswe. I would na ho ya ka nna itse ke motho ba tswang a re ntho ma tshitsang yona is wrong. But now that 2015 ebe ba mo sentenced to 30 years in prison. And now all the questions come back to me as a mother. So ke mo kopile several times for papa o bele bana ba gago and tell them the truth. Ke bana ba bashimane. Like you say gore they struggle to identity. My kids, they struggle to identity. My 15-year-old 3 weeks back came home and was so drunk, like he was out. My problem is I cannot papa. You know, kids will come to the one. I go polo, but my papa. I go kai but my papa. And mama has to take a law. Like I would guide myself for saying Yako Polo Omunyane. I come back Yako at classing Luo. I come back later Yana Yako classing. So basically I do not have a life for myself. Which is fine, I've made peace with that. But for them, they still need a father in their life. What do I do? How do I tell them? Actually, what do I say? Because I don't know the truth. And now, if I take somebody else and introduce them in their life, my side of the family, they're very nice, they're very supportive, they're there for me. But now, his side of the family, it's as if everything that's happening is fault as a mother. Or am I not being a good mother? Like, you know, and it comes back to that one, or am I failing my kids? Am I not being a good mother? Well, what am I supposed to do at this whole situation? Kill a parent that was not even meant to be a single parent. I don't think I was cut out to be a single parent.
Yes. House Anonymous, I'm going to say to you, continue being a great parent that you have been.
True that.
You are a very concerned parent who is actually doing the right thing as we speak, and never ever doubt that. Okay, thank you so very much.
You know, I'm very proud of my sister.
Yes.
You know, another person would have tarnished the image of the father and all that. And, you know, she's trying to preserve the situation. She's trying to Mama, my advice would be career therapy. Visit FAMSA.
Along with the kids, of course.
Please. Yes. Visit FAMSA, create a family therapy, because remember, there's been a transition throughout. Bana, they were raised by the father. Suddenly the father is somewhere else, and, you know, there are issues going on there. Mama ayoko FAMSA, along with the children, akope a family therapy. And the other good thing is that the Department of Correctional Services also, you know, like inalidi social workers that, you know, assist this, you know, like the offenders to be integrated back into the family and all that. Abatle that particular information. Abatle akope go bona the social worker who is actually assisting Ntate. Not that she'll be looking for information, just to understand where Ntate is psychologically and others, and see as to whether can they facilitate that particular integration between the father and the children. Because remember, Bana, but the reason why one at a one ali drunk is that issue issue Bana at the end of the day banally balonga for belonging and Bana matlo ababonamba tse di babona ka ona are different from everyone else.
Yes.
We must learn to see the parents of the children with the eyes of the children. Kobaneng mutswadi, whether I am a whatever ikiling ko yona, I'm the perfect person ever.
Yes.
You cannot even change that. That is why the minute you start, I mean, when uli mokana abudak hanga thoma ka ro ka mma wa gago.
Sure.
Emotions will be flowing all over the place. That's how we are. That's how we are. So mama agre therapy, and then I also have contact li social worker a to southern li ntate ko correctional service.
That's right. All right. 0800 142 446 0800 142 446. It's our toll-free number tonight. And let's go to Eastern Cape in the in PE. Vugile.
Hello, what?
Vugile, please get your radio off because you got me to keep quiet for almost 10 seconds.
Okay, but
all right.
I switch it off now.
All right. Welcome to the program. And Josephine Peta is here.
Yes, but ndinengxaki apha ne. Ndinomntana othathwe ngumamakhe kum. Otherwise besihlala kunye apha ekhaya. Uyabona? Ngoku umamakhe ngo-2015 ngose ndimfowunele ndimxelele uba umntana akaphilanga. Weza ukuba yene-medical mna andinayo. Uyabona futhi bendiphangela but ndaphelelwa ngumsebenzi. Uyabona futhi wamthatha umntana apha singavelanga. Uyabona futhi ngoku kule nyaka uphelileyo ndamfowunela umakhulu kanti umse kumamakhe elalukele emaXhoseni. Uyabona futhi eTingulemstown.
Yes,
uyabona ngoku mna andikwazi umbona umntana. Uyabona futhi umthathe apha kum ndimse nasesikolweni umntana ufundiswa ndim yena bengenaxesha lakhe umntana. Uyabona futhi ngoku kule nyaka uphelileyo ngeholiday kaJuni beza apha eBhayi usister wakhe umakhuluza kumntana kwintombi yakhe apha eBhayi. Uyabona futhi ndimgqibele ngaloo nyaka kulo nyaka uphelileyo ke ngolaluke ngoJulayi. Uyabona futhi njalo ngexesha leholiday umna andikwazi umbona umntana tu even noba ndiyamfonela laa mama uyandichaya uthetha rhwada nam. Uyabona futhi umntana okhuliswa kakuhle apha okhuliswa ndim umamakhe engekho yena. Uyabona futhi ngoku ndinaloo ngxaki leyo andazi uba mandithini. Uyabona futhi
kuvakele tata kuvakele. Let's hear what Usis Josephine is going to say about that.
Okay, but
all right. Thank you, Butvugile. He's quite very emotional about it, and I believe quite a lot of male parents actually. Butvugile is actually reflecting quite a lot of emotions that some of these guys are going through.
Exactly, because of the practices. We have turned the children into pay as you see, visit and all that.
Yeah. In fact, let me add to Butvugile. I want you to respond to both because they almost have the same common kind. The real Karabolans is asking, Mara, why in general women are given more parental control over access to the child, and why does it naturally seem like a man is sidelined, and how can that be changed? It's almost the same thing.
And I think I have rubber stamped on this one to say, Awutata, let's stand up. Let's stand up. Go and enforce the child's rights. Children's court is there.
But do we always have to fight about these things, really? Because you see, the energy of fighting is one of the biggest problems because
you know, my brother, the thing is we cannot avoid the fact that umuntu has their own childhood issues that when you didn't even know when you were in a relationship with them, that were never being dealt with.
Could say that again.
Even the law cannot even fix that. Because umuntu, if asked lokba, mina I'm going to be hwata and I'm going to do this, can you really change that? That person needs help. It is their psychological well-being that is in question. That hence the fight. It's because can you really regulate a person's behavior?
Yes.
It is. I mean, even the law is actually unable to regulate people's behavior.
Yes.
So like family issues are actually socio-psychological issues to a very large extent because it depends on a person's mood, how they feel, and how when a person starts being angry at you and being bitter, they will project all sorts of emotions and they will treat you the way up until they get it into their mind that, the relationship is over, I must move on and I must do what is best for the child. We just have to fight.
Time flies when you actually need to be addressing serious things like this. Before I take that caller, Puti from Mulechi, Matlo Sitati saying, good evening, studio. I'm listening from Radio Turf.
It is really sad when parents ignore their responsibility to raise their own children. And my question is one, does the law allow the third party, for example, in this instance whereby both parents don't take full responsibility to raise these children? Number two, how can you advise me to protect the children who are abused? Lo baba wakho ufana no baba wakho pa le khanda le lihlala lishisa njalo nje because umama uyashaya. Or let me put it on the other side, because umama uyakushaya all the time because lo ma wakho lo hlala enza manyala. You know, those are the kind of languages we hear quite a lot, and it breaks down the kids, as we have already said.
Exactly. And when I started, I spoke about the Children's Act being the overarching legislation with regard to children's issues. What the listener is actually alluding to is Section 24 of the Children's Act application, which says any person who has an interest in the life and upbringing and the care of a child can make an application to say, I want to have parental responsibilities and rights over this particular children. And the court can grant you that, and then you can then raise the children. But as I'm saying, the enforcement mechanisms are there. You know, we cannot be having a beautiful act that actually, like the language of that particular act, it's actually talking about us promoting the children and taking care of them and shielding them from all these sorts of challenges. And it looks like we are not taking advantage of that. Stand up and say, I want, I'm related to these children, or I'm not related, but then I see that they are suffering and all that, and I want to have parental responsibility and rights over them.
Let's take the last caller. It's just been Puti from Molechi, Realoj. She had a very great point for South Africa, but anyway, we are almost out of time, Josephine, but your last words with regards to encouraging both parents, encouraging those who are supporting the parents, taking South Africa forward in societal issues. Let's talk.
Just a day or 2 days ago, the crime statistics were released.
Yes.
And they were very horrendous. And I'm saying SAPS will still chase until we fix what is happening at our homes. They will chase and chase. Those criminals were bred. They were produced.
They were made.
They were made at our homes.
By these parents, by us, by you, by me.
And that is the lack of co-parenting.
Yeah.
Like I said in my opening remarks, that when you tell a child your mother is a snake, your father is a dog, you're actually saying to that child you are half a dog and half a snake. And your parent is irresponsible because they made a bad choice and still went and slept with that snake or that particular dog. So what I'm saying is that, co-parenting is a model that South Africa must embrace, because the very same children that we are now neglecting, even though they're staying with us, and that we are now neglecting, are the very same criminals that are going to shoot you tomorrow.
The Botswanas, they would know exactly what I'm saying.
Accept it. Get help if you have to get help, just to deal with these issues. There are offices of the family advocate where we are a multidisciplinary component. We have family advocates and family counselors. Let them help you through the process. Yes, it is very difficult. No one wants to be damned. It is very difficult. But get help and then go through the processes. And you know what? It may be difficult when you start. But you know what? One block at a time. Yes. One block. Get assistance. Get help.
That's right.
Love this child enough to pave a better future for them.
And lastly, give us, if you have, a contact that people could use, actually, because some of the people do not want to be on air, Sis Josephine, but they want to talk to somebody who works with Sis Josephine, or maybe might be Sis Josephine herself. Give us that number where people can actually
the
cry
good
out
thing
for help.
Yeah, I'm the National Complaints Manager.
Yes. That's a good contact right there. Yes,
so they can contact 012-315-1680, 012-315-1680, or they can email me at jpeta@justice.gov.za.
Otherwise, you can go to www.doj.gov.za. www.justice.gov.za. South Africa, it's been real, it's been informative, and it is up to you what you do with this information, and it is up to you how you tune yourself to become that ideal parent that is taking care of their child's needs. Thank you so much. Good evening to you.